different occasions been, counterproductive to the efforts. Right now, we are respecting our role as mediator. We are trying our best not to consider ourselves as party of that conflict. What we are aiming for is one specific goal: is to end the war and to end the suffering of the people in Gaza, to get the hostages back, and then we think about the day after. That will remain our main focus. We are not going to give up on that mission as long as we see a role that we can play and we can contribute to save more lives.
السؤال الرابع ديفاني سيلوديكس رويترز.
Hi, thank you. Secretary Blinken, do you agree with Israel's assessment that Hamas rejected the deal? And what specific changes were proposed by Hamas? What specifically do you find workable and not workable? Can you confirm that Hamas wants written guarantees from the United States for a permanent ceasefire and the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip in order to sign off on the proposal? And can you provide those guarantees? And then if I may, on Hezbollah, you've repeatedly said that achieving a ceasefire deal could help end the fighting between Hezbollah and Israel. Hezbollah today vowed to increase the intensity of its operations against Israel after the killing of a senior commander. How concerned are you now, after Hamas's response to the ceasefire proposal, that this conflict will spread? And Prime Minister, given this response, is there more pressure the Arab world can put on Hamas to reach a deal? And are you considering closing the Hamas office in Qatar?
Thank you. So, what we received last night, all of us, in terms of the response from Hamas, were changes that they sought, they seek, in the proposal that President Biden put forward, that Israel and the entire world has accepted. So, the question is whether any of those changes that they have sought, they seek, are workable, bridgeable, or not. And I'm not going to obviously characterize or describe what they're looking for. All I can tell you, having gone over this with our colleagues, is that we believe that some of the requested changes are workable and some are not. And so we have to see on an urgent basis over the course of the coming days whether those gaps are bridgeable, in a way that upholds the agreement, the proposal that President Biden puts on the table. Because again, this is not about changing fundamentals. It's about seeing if we can bridge the gaps that have been exposed by Hamas's response. And I can't tell you right now whether we'll succeed. I believe it's doable. I believe it's absolutely necessary to try our hardest to do it, but there's no guarantee. With regard to Lebanon and Hezbollah, look, we've said from day one that one of our primary objectives is to prevent this conflict in Gaza, the war in Gaza, from spreading, seeing escalation in the region, and we've been on that from day one. We don't want to see that escalation. And I think it's also safe to say that actually no one is looking to start a war or to have escalation. And I think it's also true that most involved believe that there can and should be, ideally, a diplomatic resolution to the differences that could spark conflict, and in particular, a resolution that leads to the necessary conditions for people to be able to return to their homes and believe that they can live safely and securely in their own homes. There are about 60,000 Israelis who've had to leave their homes in northern Israel because of the rocket attacks and the threat from Hezbollah. They have to be able to go home. There are people in southern Lebanon who've also had to leave their homes. They should be able to go home. So what I've heard from everyone concerned and others who are working on this for everyone concerned is there's a strong preference for a diplomatic solution. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that the best way also to empower a diplomatic solution to the north of Lebanon is a resolution of the conflict in Gaza, getting the ceasefire. That will take a tremendous amount of pressure out of the system. It will take away a justification that Hezbollah has claimed for the attacks it's engaged in, and I think open a pathway to actually resolve this diplomatically. That's what we're determined to do. The proposal speaks for itself. What's in the proposal, backed by the United States, by Qatar, by Egypt, speaks for itself.
Just briefly on your question, I think that, look, if we are talking about pressure needed to be on both parties, and we have seen that basically whether it's on Hamas or in Israel, but like for another example was 6th of May, after that Rafah invasion happened, and then also we have seen a lot of contradicting statements from different Israeli officials. That also requires a lot of pressure on them as well as the other party. We believe as a mediator we try our best to respect our role, to bridge the gaps and not to make judgments on one party over another. And our biggest concern is that it's taking too long to bridge these gaps. We need to get this to an end as soon as possible. That's what will remain our focus. Our focus is to put an end for this war, which took, I think it's the longest war that happened in Palestine, and this is something that no one can tolerate. The region cannot tolerate more instability. Regarding your question about Hamas office, we've been repeatedly mentioning this. Hamas office establishment in Doha being for a reason. This reason is for keeping the communication channel, and until now this reason is valid, and we are using this as a communication channel. Our interest as a country is to see peace and stability in the region. It doesn't mean that we are endorsing one party over another. Our policy is very clear in supporting the Palestinian people and their rights, but at the end of the day we are a state, we are not a political party. Thank you.
شكرا معاليك وشكرا لوزير الخارجية الأمريكي، وبهذا نختتم مؤتمر الصحفي لليوم.